Coming up, more mumps cases at SU. The total tally is now above 50. What is the university doing to contain the disease spreading around campus?
Another healthcare fight on Washington. President Trump said he supported it, but now he's opposed. Will subsidies be removed from Obamacare?
And two more stars share their stories of sexual assault. One an A-list actress, another a star athlete. All that and more right now.
TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Our top story tonight, a $50 million renovation for the Syracuse Hancock Airport. Good evening, I'm Elijah Shama.
And I'm Colleen Callander. Governor Cuomo announced the renovations yesterday, saying they would make it a more modern airport. There's a lot to be added to Hancock, and here to tell us about what we may see soon is CitrusTV reporter Matt Liberman.
Thanks, guys. The sun is starting to set here at Hancock International Airport. I don't know if you can still tell, but you should be able to. There is a giant red crane in the back, one of the big reasons for the $50 million renovation. Governor Cuomo was in Syracuse yesterday to announce the project. Phase 1 began last month in September, and the project will continue through the fall of 2018. Some of the big new renovations are new lighting, 14,500 more square feet of space, and jobs. 900 jobs will be created from the project. So coming to Syracuse now, more lighting, more jobs, and more space. Live from Hancock International Airport, I'm Matt Liberman, CitrusTV News.
Thanks, Matt. In a little more than 15 minutes, the second mayoral debate here in Syracuse is going to start. Last week's debate got pretty heated and left a lot of questions unanswered. Here to talk with us now about what that may look like is political analyst and host of Talking Points, Mike Riccardi. Mike?
Glad to be here.
So what sort of issues should be making headlines at this debate?
I mean, I think they'll talk about the land bank, what to do with the police force, whether to hire more officers. But the real big issue, right, is I-81, what to do with it. Are you going to go the community grid route, or are you going to replace the viaduct? And that's going to be the biggest issue, not only tonight, but that the mayor that wins will be facing in their new term.
And kind of past the issues, let's talk politics. What's the state of the race looking like right now?
The latest poll done by Siena College, Spectrum News, and Syracuse.com has the Democrat Juanita Perez-Williams with 35% of the vote and independent Ben Walsh with 28% of the vote. Laura Levine and Howie Hawkins not really making too much noise, but the thing to watch for is that Joe Nicoletti, the Democrat running against Perez-Williams, who dropped out, still has 9% of the vote. So it's a close race unless Juanita Perez-Williams can gather that last 9% from Nicoletti voters.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
Current Mayor Stephanie Miner says Syracuse can't afford what it really needs, more police. Last week, Police Chief Frank Fowler said his department needed more officers, but Miner says Syracuse is in a fiscally tough position. The PBA president also spoke out in an open letter, urging the next mayor to hire more police officers. Earlier this year, the Common Council restructured the budget to add 15 new officers, but Miner says she does not plan to make those hires.
We are the 99%.
Protesters are rallying against the GOP tax cuts proposed in Trump's budget plan. The CNY Solidarity Coalition stood outside Congressman Katko's Syracuse office today, demanding that the government not pass the proposed tax plan. Katko already voted against the plan, but protesters wanted to make sure that he stuck by his original vote. There will be another protest at Katko's Auburn office tonight and a DACA protest tomorrow in front of his downtown Syracuse office.
And an SU professor won a coveted book award. George Saunders won the Man Booker Prize for Fiction yesterday for his first novel, Lincoln in the Bardo. The prize usually guarantees increased book sales, although Saunders shouldn't have to worry about that. His book was already a bestseller in the U.S. Saunders currently teaches in the creative writing program at Syracuse. Syracuse University is reporting 57 cases of mumps. There are currently 24 confirmed cases and 33 possible cases on campus. Some colleges are administering extra vaccinations to affected students. The Onondaga County Health Department says there is not enough evidence for those students to take a third vaccination.
It's going to become a lot easier to get birth certificates, deeds, or any public documents. The Onondaga County Courthouse is launching an online system that lets you view these documents from home. People can pay a subscription to access the documents starting at $5 for 24 hours. The county clerk says the increased demand for instant access to public records helped create the system. An appeal for a big Onondaga murder trial today, Robert Newlander faced an appeals court this morning. This was his last chance to overturn his 2012 murder conviction. Newlander's lawyer had 15 minutes in front of 4 judges. The district attorney had 10. No decision has been made yet. Citrus TV will keep you updated as this story continues.
It's week 8 of the semester now, and that means it's time for midterms. Citrus TV reporter David Edelstein is live in studio to tell us about a study space that's staying open late.
It's midterm week on campus, and many students are spending long hours studying. Now they have one more place to prepare for exams.
Allow students to really a little bit stress, focus on your assignments, your tests, your essays, and really just allow you to shine and not have to worry about everything else.
Student Association is sponsoring the extra hours. Byrd Library is open 24 hours today and tomorrow, Friday until midnight, Saturday from 9 a.m. until 3 a.m., and Sunday 9 a.m. to midnight.
Byrd has kind of become our quote-unquote living room of campus. So if you're trying to do work or meet friends, socialize while also being productive, it really has become that unique place.
Franco says midterms are just as important as finals. He says keeping Byrd open makes sure students aren't stopped from using their usual study space when they need it most.
And even if it's just 5 students who get to use it, we're happy and hopeful that for those students, we made their lives a little bit easier, a little bit better.
Franco says last year's extended library hours were a success. And with what students are saying about this year's, it might be once again.
I will definitely take advantage of those extended hours because with all of so many great things in school, they can become distractions. By having these extended hours, I think I could put more of my time, my commitment towards my academic studies.
I would go here for quiet because the dorm can get kind of crazy.
It's a good place to go if you don't want to be distracted by the people in your dorm. And you can study with groups here and meet up with people from other dorms.
Franco added that it's okay if the library isn't for you. He says students should study where they're comfortable. Extended library hours are just another option to choose from. David Edelstein, Citrus TV News.
It was pretty chilly this morning, but it really warmed up. The sun came out.
Yeah, I had to take off my jacket. I was sweating by the end of the day. Nicole, what's going on?
Well, guys, you said it. Those temperatures have been fluctuating all day. Definitely chillier today, but it's currently 72 degrees now, and the sun is still shining until it sets at 6:16 tonight. 0 chance of rain, and that will continue into tonight. Those clear skies will still be there. And again, the temperatures are going to drop to a low of 51. But are these warm temperatures going to stick around, and when will it finally be sweater season? I'll let you know in my full weather forecast.
Thanks, Nicole. After the break, another mass shooting, this time in Maryland. We'll tell you what investigators know about the shooter and his motive.
And Iraq cracks down on Kurds in disputed territories. Don't go anywhere.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
You're watching Citrus TV News with Colleen Callander, Elijah Shama, and Nicole Weaving with weather. Citrus TV News continues now.
This morning, 3 people were killed and 2 were injured at a business park in Maryland. A worker at the business park is the suspect in the shooting.
Police have not yet discovered a motive behind the shooting. As of 3:30 this afternoon, the shooter was still on the loose. The Senate questioned Attorney General Jeff Sessions today. Senators asked about his conversations with President Trump and Russian leaders during the 2016 election campaign.
Sessions refused to disclose the content of his conversations with President Trump. He also continued to defend his integrity during his meetings with Russian leaders. A Florida congresswoman is accusing the president of being insensitive to a military widow. Congresswoman Frederica Wilson said the president told the wife of Sergeant David Johnson that he, quote, knew what he was signing up for.
Sergeant Johnson was among 4 American soldiers killed in an ambush in Niger. The president took to Twitter to defend himself, saying the congresswoman fabricated what he said. President Trump has come out in opposition to the bipartisan Senate healthcare bill. Trump says he backs efforts to reach a compromise, but he, quote, can never support a bailout of insurance providers.
The compromise is largely the brainchild of Republican Senator Lamar Alexander and Democrat Senator Patty Murray, who are vowing to continue working on the proposal. A leaked White House document is raising questions about the U.S. trade policy. The document says that free trade leads to all of these things here: higher crime, increased spousal abuse, and even a higher abortion rate. The document does not provide data to back up the claims.
Reports say President Trump circulated these documents himself after getting them from an advisor. Critics also say it's troubling to see what information the White House is looking at when they decide on policy. Recently declassified documents reveal that U.S. intelligence was aware of large-scale massacres in Indonesia in the 1960s, but remained silent. This new info states that Indonesian government forces murdered over 500,000 suspected communists or sympathizers between 1965 and 1966.
The majority of this information stems from reports of U.S. embassy workers in the country at the time, who transmitted accounts of the violence to Washington. After receiving death threats, a member of Kenya's election commission escaped to the U.S. She stepped down only a week before Kenya is set to hold its presidential election rerun.
She stated that the commission is corrupt and under a political siege. She also says outside influences are pressuring other members. The Iraqi military says they have retaken control of the city of Kirkuk. Until Monday, the oil-rich province had been held by Kurdish forces since 2014.
The Prime Minister of Iraq says he hopes for an independent Kurdish state that are now a thing of the past. Both groups are allies of the United States. The conflict complicates the U.S. efforts to fight ISIS. Forces have caused widespread murder, rape, and burning against a minority group in Myanmar. Amnesty International has conducted analysis of witness accounts and video evidence against the Rohingya.
The group found evidence of crimes against humanity. More than 500,000 men, women, and children from the minority group have fled to Bangladesh in just a few weeks. Australia plans to shut down its controversial detention center for refugees. The United Nations had criticized the Australian government for not providing many basic services for the residing refugees.
Over 100,000 refugees from the Middle East are housed there. It is unsure where many of them will be placed after the center closes.
And coming up, get ready to go back to the Millennium Falcon. The Han Solo movie has its name.
And warm to cold to warm again. What's going on with the weather? Nicole Weaving has it all after the break.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back inside the CitrusTV studios. It was a warm day here in Syracuse, but let's take a look at the rest of upstate New York. It's currently 68 in Rome, the same in Cortland, 71 in Elmira, and a warmer 73 over in Rochester. Now, the temperature keeps fluctuating from the morning to midday to the night, and here is why. There's currently a high pressure front moving in. That brings dry temperature, which is dry weather, which is why there hasn't been any rain this week and won't be any the rest of the week, but it also brings these crazy temperature changes throughout the day. So when it comes to tomorrow morning, the story will be the same. You'll wake up and it'll be about 56 degrees outside and warm up to about 66 midday with a high of 71 tomorrow. There's also a 0% chance of rain, so these clear skies are going to stick around. And then if we take a look at our 5-day forecast, as I mentioned, mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 71, slightly cooler on Friday with a high of 64, and then 74 will be the high Saturday and Sunday. But that rain from the lower pressure front that was moving in from the west is going to move in right there on Monday with some AM showers and a high of 68.
So absolutely no rain for the rest of the week. Is that what we can expect?
That is the story. I'm willing to put my money on it, that there's not going to be rain, especially tonight or tomorrow, and the rest of the weekend should be clear skies.
All right.
That's really good to hear. So Monday felt too much like winter almost. When are the fall temperatures going to be rolling in?
So as I said, the temperature is going to be right around the mid to high 60s, low 70s this week. But next week we will see some like mid 50s temperatures, which in my opinion is perfect sweater weather. So count on next week being sweater weather.
Great, thanks, Nicole.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Two female figures are adding to the current conversation on sexual assault. Actress Jennifer Lawrence and Olympic gymnast Michaela Maroney are speaking out about their experiences. Lawrence said yesterday that film producers once made her stand in a nude lineup and told her to lose weight.
Maroney tweeted that she was sexually abused by a former USA gymnastics doctor who already faces 22 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Maroney said that starting at age 13, she was molested by the doctor who told her she was receiving medically necessary treatment. Maroney and Lawrence are just two of many women who have been sharing their stories in light of allegations against Harvey Weinstein. The NFL and Players Union met again today to discuss social issues, and they have not yet banned kneeling protest.
Commissioner Roger Goodell said the meeting's objective was to talk about the issues players wanted to bring attention to. While the meeting did not come up with immediate solutions, both sides were pleased to get the conversations going. Han Solo is finally getting some solo time in the spotlight. The famous character's origin story has finally received a title, Solo: A Star Wars Story.
In a video posted on Twitter, director Ron Howard thanked his incredibly talented cast and the franchise's fans, and then this sign revealing the name. Solo received mixed reviews from people who felt it was a pretty obvious choice. The film opens in May 2018.
And coming up in sports, can SU football pull off back-to-back top 10 upsets? And the Yankees are in the middle of a pivotal Game 5 in the ALCS. I've got all that and more on the other side.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Orange Nation is still basking in the glory of Syracuse's unbelievable upset over defending national champion Clemson. While the Orange is getting an extra day to celebrate since it played on last Friday, SU needs to direct all of its attention to the week's next opponent. The 8th-ranked Miami Hurricanes present almost an equal challenge as the Tigers, and head coach Dino Babers says it's time to get back to business.
You know, you're playing another undefeated team in the top 10, another storied program. They have more athletes than we have. We're trying to get athletes like they have, and we're playing them at their place. So it's going to be a difficult game, and we're going to be playing it on the road and the weather and everything else. So we've got a lot of work to get to.
History certainly isn't on the Orange's side in this one to pull off back-to-back top 10 wins. SU has never accomplished that feat in its program's nearly 130-year history. The last time SU beat two top 25 teams in back-to-back weeks, that came in 1983 against Boston College and West Virginia. More trouble in the NCAA's FBI scandal. Miami head coach Jim Larrañaga just received a grand jury subpoena for texts, emails, and other items. While nobody from the Hurricane program was arrested in the FBI's initial findings, Miami did closely resemble one of the mystery teams in the investigation. Miami is sponsored by Adidas, which is the major apparel brand in question in the probe. And speaking of those investigations, there are new developments in the Rick Pitino fallout at Louisville. The former Cardinals head coach is suing Adidas for making it appear that Pitino knew about money being given to recruits. The lawsuit comes a day after Adidas ended its personal services contract with Pitino. Adidas said in an email to the Associated Press that Pitino's claim is a reaction to the contract termination and the company with the company and has no merit. Well, you can chalk up round one to the student. Jim Boeheim's longtime assistant Mike Hopkins beat out his former boss for three-star forward Nate Roberts yesterday. The Baltimore native picked Hopkins and the Washington Huskies over the Orange as well as Nebraska. While he was still at SU, Hopkins began recruiting Roberts in anticipation of taking over the head coaching job when Boeheim retired. Roberts said that his relationship with Coach Hop was a major factor in choosing Washington. The three-star recruit is the fourth member of Hopkins' class of 2018. SU soccer looks to break out of its recent slide tonight against Ohio State. Syracuse has lost its last 4 matches, all of which by 1 goal. However, the Buckeyes might be the perfect opponent for the Orange. OSU also enters the game on a 4-game losing streak. This is just the 3rd time ever that these two teams have met. Ohio State owns a 1-0-1 record in the all-time series. And in playoff baseball, it's a pivotal Game 5 out in the Bronx right now. Currently, the Yankees lead the Astros 2-0 in the top of the 4th. Aaron Judge continues to excel at Yankee Stadium. The rookie had an RBI single in the 3rd inning. Houston's pitcher Dallas Keuchel has 5 strikeouts through 3 innings. And in the NL, it's win or go home for the defending World Series champs tonight. The Cubs find themselves in a 3-0 hole after losing to the Dodgers last night. Only one team has ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. That came in 2004 when the Red Sox reeled off 4 straight wins over the Yankees and would go on to win the World Series. And one of the major players in that series is former Red Sox and current Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. So we'll see if Roberts plays it cautious the remainder of the series. First pitch at Wrigley is set for just after 9. And guys, the winner of those 2 series go on to play in the World Series.
Who are your top picks for the World Series?
Well, coming into the playoffs, I really thought it was going to be the Cubs again to repeat, but looking at what this Dodgers team has done so far, undefeated throughout the postseason, and I think that will continue at least a couple more games, and ultimately I like the Dodgers to take the whole thing. You've got so much power at the bottom with a guy like Yasiel Puig emerging during the playoffs, and you can never really bet against Clayton Kershaw as well.
So, you're a Chicago boy. What are your chances of the Cubs making this comeback?
It doesn't look good, but you always have to look at pitching in baseball playoffs. You got 4 guys on the Cubs staff who all received Cy Young votes last year. That certainly bodes well for them. So you're only as strong as your pitching, and it seems like the Cubs have the stronger pitching so far, but it just hasn't shown up in this series.
All right, Tyler, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, some Fury fighters are caught in a boxing match. Stay with us.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science, become the mayor or something, make the situation better for other people. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
I think that you should definitely have a light jacket with you. Those temperatures are, again, almost like this morning, going to be on the lower side in the low 50s. So I would suggest bringing a jacket if you plan on going out.
And it got pretty warm today, about the middle of the day. What should I be wearing tomorrow?
I would say that you can probably stick with what you wore today. It's going to be right around that low 70s mark again tomorrow. So really you can probably be able to wear shorts if you're on the warmer side, especially being from Miami probably works for you.
All right, thank you.
And finally, we go down under, where an Australian police helicopter found this amazing video of 2 kangaroos fighting.
The 2 duke it out, and you can see a third one sitting on the back there watching the fight. Tyler, as a resident sports guy, I think we're going to need to have you call this.
Well, you see the third one back there. He's got the camera out ready to put this on World Star. And right there, the double kick right there, and then they just wrap up once again. I mean, this is astonishing. You don't see this, and then there must be some type of ritual in Australian kangaroo fighting, because that just seems planned at that point.
And that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
All right.
How did they get that footage?
Well, where do you find these?
Someone was on
right
YouTube.
place. Talk about right place, right
What
time.
tension's going on between them that they have to duke it out like this?
I don't know what kangaroo politics look like, but Colleen?
Well, that's all we have for tonight. For more, go online to CitrusTV.com or follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News. For Citrus TV, I'm Colleen Callander.
And I'm Elijah Shama. Have a great night, Syracuse.